North Korea has fired a ballistic missile across Japan, its second such move in weeks. South Korea's military said the missile reached an estimated altitude of about 770 kilometers (478 miles) and traveled 3,700 kilometers before landing in the sea off Hokkaido. Japan's PM Shinzo Abe said his country would never tolerate such dangerous provocative action. If North Korea continues to walk down this path, it has no bright future, he said in a statement. U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson also condemned the launch, which contravened UN sanctions. He put the burden of response on China and Russia, nuclear-armed North Korea's main economic partners, saying they must indicate their intolerance for these reckless missile launches by taking direct actions of their own. Minutes after the launch, South Korea fired 2 ballistic missiles into the sea in a simulated strike on North Korea, reported Yonhap news agency. President Moon Jae-in held an emergency meeting of his National Security Council, where he said that dialogue with the North was impossible in a situation like this, reported Yonhap news agency. Mr. Moon was elected earlier this year after campaigning partly on conducting more dialogue with Pyongyang. The South Korean military said the latest launch, the first since sanctions were tightened this week, took place from the Sunan airfield north of Pyongyang just before 0700 local time 22:00 GMT on Thursday. As with the last launch, it flew over Japan's northern Hokkaido island before splashing down in the Pacific Ocean. Sirens sounded across the region and text message alerts were sent out warning people to take cover. According to the initial estimates, the missile flew considerably higher and further than the one fired on the 29th of August, which Pyongyang had warned was only the first step in its military operations in the Pacific. Observers said it was likely an intermediate-range ballistic missile, though Japanese officials said there was still a possibility it had been an intercontinental ballistic missile (ICBM). This test came as a surprise to nobody. North Korea is steadily proceeding down the path to full ICBM capability. To do that, it needs to test-fire its projectiles. Every other missile-armed nation has done the same. It started this spring by firing its new longer-range Hwasong missiles into the Sea of Japan, then flew one over Hokkaido in August. Next it tested a powerful nuclear device, which it claims it can put on a missile. Now it has tested another intermediate-range missile at longer range and higher altitude. The next step will almost certainly be a test of the Hwasong 14 ICBM over Japan and far out into the Pacific. The aim of all this is to develop and deploy a reliable missile that can hit the mainland U.S. The UN Security Council will meet on Friday in New York at the request of Japan and the U.S. North Korea, which insists it needs a nuclear and weapons program to ensure its survival, has repeatedly conducted missiles launches in recent months, disregarding UN sanctions. It also conducted its 6th nuclear test 2 weeks ago, which it claimed was a hydrogen bomb, the most powerful weapon ever made. Fresh UN sanctions were imposed in response, targeting the few remaining international trade links North Korea has. Can the world live with a nuclear North Korea? What was your t-shirt made in North Korea? What's life like on the border with North Korea? But these appear to have done nothing to stop North Korea's weapons development, nor its fiery warnings. On Thursday, it threatened to sink Japan and turn America to ashes. North Korea's missile program. Pyongyang has been developing weapons, initially based on the Soviet-developed Scud, for decades. Conducted short and medium-range missile tests on many occasions, sometimes to mark domestic events or periods of regional tension. Pace of tests has increased in recent months. Experts say North Korea appears to be making significant advances towards building a reliable long-range nuclear-capable weapon. On the 3rd of September, North Korea said it tested a hydrogen bomb that could be miniaturized and loaded on a long-range missile.